How's it going, guys? Nozza here, and I'm back with another Kerbal Space Program series, which the series is for Kerbal Space Program are going through the roof, literally. Like, honestly, my roof has got a giant hole in, because, yeah, all I'm going to say is Jeb happened. Okay, that was a bit weird. Never mind. So yeah, Permadeath Space Program. Basically, one rule applies. It's sandbox mode, because career mode hasn't come out yet, but there is a mod for it called Mission Controller, which I was thinking of doing, but I don't think I'm going to do it. I'm just going to wait until career mode actually comes out, which I think could be in the next update. I'm not too sure. So yeah, basically, one rule applies. This series, I can use whatever part I want. It's my space program. I've got every funding of the Kerbal government, but one thing applies. If one Kerbal dies, they execute the entire space program. The VAB, the SPH, the entire KSC gets demolished. Everything gets blown up. No more KSC. No more KSP. Basically. So yeah, there's a lot of pressure on me. But I'm only talking about in the save file. So actually, all of my other what's been going on. So basically, if a Kerbal dies, the save file gets deleted. So yeah, I think the first thing to do, starting off, would just be to put a satellite in orbit, because I didn't really want to end this space program straight away. And satellites are quite a useful thing. I went with the Sputnik probe because it's my favourite probe. I like the design, and I've been watching a documentary about the space race and about Sergei Korolev when he first designed the Sputnik. And I actually listened to I went on Wikipedia and I was researching it because I got to do a Russian project and I was doing it all about the space race. And I researched it and I listened to the actual first radio transmission from the satellite to Earth, which was really cool. It was like beep. Yeah, so I have got, I think, 3 mods installed. The Ordnance Industries transport mod, which I will be using in my next episode of Easter Egg Hunters, which I'm probably going to record later, actually. At the time of editing this, recording this narration, because this is not live, as you can probably tell, most of these won't be live, because I was actually over at MC Dilb's houses during the time of recording this. And I didn't have my mic and everything. So yeah, the mods are, I've got the Ordnance Industries one. Look, can you see this mod here? Right, this is just a fairing mod. So like I can cover the satellite up when it's going into orbit, just so that it gives it more, it makes the rocket more aerodynamic, and I think it makes the game more realistic. MC Dubes, if you're watching this, mods are not cheating, especially the ones I have, because there is no competition in KSP. It is a complete sandbox game in which you can do whatever you like, so there's no such thing as cheating in KSP. Obviously, I don't agree with mods like MacJeb and FAR. I do not use that. I don't have any intention of using those. But yeah, the mods I use are to make the game more realistic. I've installed a camera mod, so I can put cameras. I don't know if I've put them on yet. This is like in draft quarter in my preview screen, so to make it run a little less laggy, so that I can actually do better narration when narrating over gameplay. So yeah, the reason I like the fairings mod is it also makes it more realistic, because if you think about it, when they launched the Mars rover Curiosity, they didn't just stick it on top of they did. They didn't just stick it on top of a rocket, launch it, because it would be extremely unaerodynamic and it would probably burn up and break. So they put fairings around it, which then detaches when it's at a certain stage. That detaches. The rover is in heat shield casing. That's put on a trajectory to Mars. That goes for 7 months, goes to Mars, re-enters Mars, parachute blows up. Well, not literally like blow up, like it inflates. And then Skycrane maneuver, boom, 8 months, Curiosity's on Mars. Or you do it the Mars Spirit way, which I have got a mod for. It's like this mod. Basically, how they did it was they launched it, but when it landed, it was like these big inflatable airbags, and it like bounced into the surface of Mars. They replaced it with the Skycrane maneuver when they landed Curiosity. It like bounces across the surface, and then when it's come to a halt, they deflate, and then Curiosity's in this like triangular prison sort of thing, and that like opens and like goes down, causing like a ramp over the deflated debris of the airbags, and then Spirit opens all its scientific equipment, dries off, boom, you've got a rover. I have got a mod for that. I might use it in my normal Kerbal Space Program series, in which we're going to, well, first Minmus obviously, but yeah, that's a pretty cool mod, and it does make landing an entire lot easier, so I do recommend that one. Sorry, just reading the forums there. Yeah, so we have our liftoff of our rocket. Slightly unstable. I mean, it was stable. Obviously, I knew it was going to be stable. It's a very small rocket, very orbital capable, which is good. It did spin quite a bit though, which I was kind of annoyed about, because like when you're doing the gravitational turn, that can be harder when the rocket's spinning, because it goes all over the place, and then the rocket ends up flipping, and then everything goes horribly wrong, everything gets blown up, and it's horrible. Yeah, so far it's going well, which I wouldn't expect anything more to be doing, really. Yeah, so we're coming, I can't see the level, but I'm guessing we're coming up to our gravitational turn now, around about now, because we've just attached these boosters. What I should have done was put Separatrons. What I might do is in the next episode, well, I've already recorded episode 2, so obviously it won't be in that. I've got to edit that next after this one, and then go record some Minecraft. So I'm getting some, because I didn't upload any videos last week, because I was at a cricket camp playing cricket, because I like cricket. Cricket's fun. So yeah, coming up to halfway through the video now, 8 minutes 15 seconds through. We're almost in orbit, which is good. Well, actually, I think we are in orbit, aren't we? Or just about. Fairing. There's a big surprise coming up, because it did actually go horribly wrong. I didn't do anything right, and it all went disastrously wrong. But as you can see now, we should start to tip around about now, because like we're coming up to a good orbit, and we needed to extend our horizontal velocity as much as we could in order to get the there we go. See, to get a fairly large orbit. I wanted the orbit to be as circularized as possible. As you will see in a minute, I do have to do a lot of orbital maneuvers, warping to apoapsises. I like that word. Apoapsis, periapsis, apoapsis, periapsis, apoapsis, periapsis. Yeah. Oh look, a screenshot for the thumbnail, because I got 2 monitors, and my desktop wallpapers are all. My desktop wallpaper is the folder that I take screenshots in, the screenshots folder in my KSP files. So whenever I take a screenshot, it'll eventually, they shuffle on my wallpaper, all my screenshots, and at the minute it's the screenshot which from the episode I've just recorded, which yeah. Oh yeah, and there's my plane travelling to the South Pole, which exploded because it went horribly wrong. It was the dragon from episode 1 of my Easter egg hunters. Wait, no, RKAF. I might record that in a minute, actually. So as you can see, now with the couple we're trying to get the thing out. I pressed 1 by accident, which was the action group to deploy everything. So when it came out, as you'll see in a minute, look, the solar panel broke off. This was kind of hard to deal with, seeing as look, watch, there we go. Look, solar panel breaks off, and that was horrible. And I just spammed X. No, I didn't. I thought I did, but I obviously didn't. So yeah, I did try and close that solar panel, but then I realised we're not going to get any power out of it, so we did need that solar panel to be open. Press 1, which didn't launch all of the things, unfortunately. So I had to do that manually, which is kind of annoying. So anyway, once our satellite was set up, which it is now set up, and we're actually closer to the end of the video than I expected, and this is going to take like a year to render. As you can see, at orbit we have a periapsis, but it was only at like 11,000 meters, which is where you perform the gravitational turn in reality. So we'd have come crashing down through the atmosphere and burnt up and landed on Kerbal, which we don't want to happen because, well, it's a satellite which is meant to orbit it, not come back down. Obviously we will come back down eventually, but yeah, so we walked around to our apoapsis and went into a prograde position, because if you go prograde at your apoapsis, it extends your periapsis, so that's one of the easiest ways to get into orbit. That's why you barely need any satellites, the easiest thing to get into orbit, because if you have the engine, I've got the engine in the Octo something tanks, you pretty much have infinite fuel because it doesn't come up with a fuel gauge. I'm not too sure about that. Leave a comment if you know how that works. So you just walk around to your apoapsis and just burn, and it's just pretty much just gives you a apoapsis. So yeah, we did have to do a lot, and when I say a lot, I mean a lot of orbital maneuvers. We extended our periapsis above 36,000 meters. Anything above 36,000 meters, well, 38 I say, is good, because when you get to 36,000 meters it says you're in orbit. So I like to keep it about 40 to 38, just to make sure. So now we were walking around to our periapsis, so I could try and bring my apoapsis in a bit. To do that we had to burn retrograde, but at the time of burning retrograde to bring in our apoapsis, it also brought in our periapsis, so we didn't quite get a circular orbit, but we got it near enough. I can't remember what the exact apoapsis and periapsis was, but we did get it near enough, and I'm at frame 23,800, no, 24,000. Yep, 24,000 frame. Well, that's a lot of frames. So yeah, although it was bringing our apoapsis, which we did want, also brought in our periapsis, which made it harder to get a circularized orbit, but we did get it pretty close. If you look to the right of Kerbal, you can actually see, I don't know if it was the angle I was at, but it looks like the orbit on that side came further out than the orbit on the other side, which I can deal with, because like eventually we got the apoapsis and periapsis pretty darn close. But I don't have a problem with that. So yes, I now have nothing to talk about. So here I was just like monitoring the apoapsis, periapsis, just trying to bring them both down a bit. Just try and get as much. I think anything within like 5,000 meters of each other would have been good for me. I'd have been happy with that. I can't remember what I got them to, but I know it was a pretty MKO. It was fairly MKO, if that's even a word. MKO means medium Kerbal orbit. Well, that's what I think it means. You have LKO, which is low Kerbal orbit, and then you have, well, if it is real, MKO, or if it's not, I've just made it up, so it now is real anyway. And HKO, which either is real or I've just made it up, which is high Kerbal orbit. I might try and put a space station in an orbit, an MKO, probably actually a bit higher, between HKO and MKO. Oh, pardon me, I'm very tired. In order to, well, which we can use to just do some scientific tests. And also in point 21, they brought out an IVA for the hitchhiker habitat containers. I tell you what, it looks absolutely amazing. The graphics in it, oh my god, it's just amazing. There is a way you can get it to work in point 20. I saw someone do that, but I don't know how they did it. Whether it was a case of just copying textures over or something stupid like that, I don't know. Yeah, we're coming to the end of the video. Thank you guys ever so much for watching. Check out the video on the end slate, which is coming up now, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.